Pablo Picasso once said, "Take away my oil paint and I'll draw with crayon. Take away my crayons and I'll paint with watercolor. Take away my watercolor and put me in jail, then I will scratch images on the wall." That's passion, and that's commitment, and that's something we all can use. I'm very, very fortunate that I have a garden that's full of flowers. And my wife, Catherine, is the one that goes out and she fertilizes and loves and takes care of all of our roses. And today's painting is a couple flowers that I found in my garden that I photographed. Let's take a look at it up here. This is the painting we're going to do today. We have 2 roses on the bottom, and what I really like about this painting that we have these wonderful blue color over here. And the wonderful, look at those leaves and look at the rhythm that we have. We all should use a color wheel. Let me show you this wheel. Now, our painting has red roses in it. Up here, red. And the accent colors that we have are blues and greens. So you can see that they're almost opposite. Well, we kind of go into the red, orange in this color scheme right through here. And if you look opposite, these are the colors, the complementing colors that we'll use for our leaves and our accent flowers. Very important to have a color wheel. For many years, I would tape a color wheel to my easel until I memorized it. So it's very important to have one of these. It takes all the guesswork out of what colors to use and what colors to use as accent colors. Just dial it in on your wheel and takes all of that. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure that stuff out. Let's take a look at the canvas that I have prepared up here. This is acrylic and it's dry. And this is mostly black. With a light kind of a yellow that I mixed with the black, and it kind of made a muted green but a little bit of an accent right there to give a little zing to it. And when we get into our painting, we'll probably punch that up a little bit more. I like using acrylic because it seals the canvas. This is actually portrait smooth canvas. But it seals the canvas up so it lets the paint slip and slide over the surface. And I also have something on here. I have a little coat of linseed on the canvas. Remember, that's acrylic and it's dry underneath. And I have the linseed and I take a towel and I just get it on there, but don't put too much on. Otherwise it'll run. Okay. Now a lot of folks at home, they say, okay, I can get the acrylic on, I can get this on, I can do all that. But when it comes to putting the flowers and the leaves, I have no idea what to do. Now, we all have a brain, and the left side of the brain is very analytical. It wants everything in horizontal and vertical and straight lines. The right side of the brain is our creative side, which is the side that looks at things that are curvy and one color running into the other. So it's the creative side that we have to wake up because sometimes it's asleep. So putting this acrylic on there and this color helps the creative side to wake up. On some of the other paintings down the line that I'll be doing for you, we really get into a lot of color with the acrylic. But right now it's rather simple. So let's start by taking a little yellow and a little bit of aqua blue. And look at the yellow. I'm using some medium. You don't see it. That's over here. And from time to time, I'll dip into that. And when I want to clean my brushes, I have some odorless thinner in a jar off to the side. And I'm using good old oil paint. This whole series is oil paint. So many times I'll forget to tell you, but it's oil on. And a lot of the paintings are done on top of the dry acrylic. Okay, let's get started. Yellow, aqua blue, and a nice chisel edge. These are synthetic brushes that come to a nice chisel. It's very important that, look at that. that we have that chisel, so that we can come up here and we'll come on, notice the wonderful curve, and with something coming out here and something over here. And I go out in the garden and I'll pick flowers, sometimes flowers and leaves, and sometimes in order to get my composition going, because you can see these are coming from the top down. If you bring flowers and leaves into the house, you normally will put them in a vase, and so everything is kind of straight up. We want them flopping down. So how do you get that floppy look where they're growing down? I'll take the leaves and the roses, and I'll get a cardboard or whatever, and I'll actually turn them upside down, and I tape them to the cardboard so that it droops or flops down, and then I can curve them and do what I want. It feeds the imagination and gets it going. A lot of folks say, well, I want to be creative and I want to have imagination, and I stand up here and nothing happens. You need to go out in the garden or get some silk flowers. It works great with silk. And tape them, if you're doing this composition, and tape them to a board so they're flopping down. And if they're artificial leaves, you can actually bend the wire and get those leaves going in different directions. So this gets the creative side of your mind going. It feeds it. Because without doing that, and you try to be creative, the mind says, okay, I want to be creative. And it looks in the creative well that we have, and there's nothing there. It says, I want to be creative. I'm going into the well, but there's nothing in the well. So what if there's nothing in the well? I have nothing to draw out. So by taking your flowers and putting them on a cardboard or whatever backing you want, let them droop down, twist and turn them. This feeds the well. So now when you want to be creative, the mind says, oh, the well is full. Okay, let's dip into it and let's get it up on the canvas. Very important to start thinking this way. This keeps you from painting the same thing over and over. Let's take and put a little leaf in here. We're just going to get started with some leaves. Look at that. And maybe another one in here. Notice the angle of the stroke is towards the back. No, I'm not going to stay on any one leaf. Maybe a little more blue in there. I'm going to kind of just jump around, maybe at the same time. Look at that. We'll get some of these stems. Oh, look at this chisel edge of this brush. You don't have to use a liner because this brush is doing it all. Look at it, look at it, look at it. Woo! Look at the wonderful line work we have in there. Then once you have your line work in, you can take your leaves and hook on to those little stems coming down, or vines. You see? You see how easy it is? And each time you do a painting, we'll highlight those later. Maybe we'll touch of orange with it. Each time you do a painting, even if you copy this one again, and I'm working from a painting that I had already done, but they all turn out different. You couldn't paint the same thing twice if you wanted to, and who wants to? Let's take some magenta rose. Experiment with color. Just get down there and play like a child would play. Boy, what's that color going to do? Let's see. Whoa, now that's a nice warm color. Look at it. You see? Now that might be a little too wet, so I'm going to take my towel, and I use paper towels all the time to dry it off. Let's take foliage green light, which is a beautiful color. And the foliage green light is almost the same color as rose leaves. It's a beautiful, kind of a muted green color. You see the stroke. Let's go over that stroke a little slower. We come in, we wiggle color and come to a point. Okay? That actually could be a leaf right there. But we're going to split your leaf in half like that. This makes you stroke it at the right angle, towards the back. You can even skip a little spot where maybe the bugs got into it. See it? Again, later on we'll highlight. Right now we're just getting the whole thing going. We're going to come in with a little yellow and orange. Let's get some of this going. Put it out here where you can see it. Yellow and orange. Ooh, more yellow. There it is. I always mix with the brush. I don't know why. It's just the way I always do it. Oh boy, look at that color. Now this, as soon as we go in with a lighter accent on top of the dark, you can see we're getting some depth to it. Let's get up here and get another one up in here. Over the top, you have to put your dark leaves in first and then build on top with your lighter leaves. I'm going to highlight that one. Boom, boom. A little more in here. Leaves are very important. People want to jump right into doing their flowers, and they just get very skimpy when it comes to doing their leaves. Don't do that. So we're starting out with our leaves just to show you how important it is to get these in there. Maybe some of them are a little bit larger, and some could be smaller. And sometimes we might have a few that are just kind of these little wild little things jumping around. Now let's go in, and I'm cleaning my brush because I have a lot of dark green on it. Let's go in and lay some roses in before we get too far down the line. My medium, this is deep burgundy, and we're going to put this color in here. Look at it go in. And some of the petals in the back are foreshortened. I have a little touch of medium with it, not too much. We have one there. Now we don't want to stack our roses one under the other, and we don't want to have it on the same level. So let's drop this one down. Beautiful deep burgundy. You can see it has plenty of pigment in it. Important for you guys to understand that you must have pigment in your paint for it to cover. If I didn't have pigment in this paint, you would see the black coming through, and we'd have problems. Let's take a little of our black, and we're going to put that in the center of this flower and a little in this flower. Wipe it and pull it out in the direction the flower is facing. You see? Now you guys, if you can, try to work from real flowers as much as you can, because it really is helpful to get the drawing. Most people have trouble. They get the stroke part down, but when it comes to the drawing part, they fall apart because the drawing isn't there. So even if you know how to stroke your canvas, you've got to have the drawing. If you just look at the outside, let's back up a little bit so we can see the outside edge. There. You can just barely see it, but you can see the outside contour already resembles a rose. Okay, let's go in and pick some petals out of there. Let's take some of this beautiful rose color, maybe a little bit of our petal pink. And let's see what that does. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that color. It's not quite as orangey as the original, but who cares? Let's get that on there. Now, the flower starts with a belly. And it also started with the dark. We have three tones. You have a dark, you have a middle tone, and you have a light. Whoa, there's the light going in. Look at it go in. We just added some punch. I'm going to wipe the brush. Let's pick up just some of our rose color. Maybe we'll put a little touch of deep burgundy. Boy, beautiful colors. And let's come up here, because I didn't want this quite as bright. You see? See? And we'll just sort of indicate petals inside. You don't have to show everything. Maybe a little more in here. These are just short little strokes. No biggie. Let's darken them up a little bit. Sometimes they get a little too light. Oh, needs a little more crimson or deep burgundy. There, okay. I get very quiet when I'm doing the detail stuff. Whew. There it goes. Yes. Now, the less you do, the better off you are. These are kind of in the shadow, so they're not going to be that bright. Let's put a little touch of orange. We're going to start going a little bit lighter. So you don't, watch out for white. White will not be your friend, guys. So watch it. because white will make it too pale. All right, now let's get off of that. Let's get on the next one. We'll put our belly in. Belly is just a cup shape that holds everything together. There's your foreshortening. That's done with the side of the brush. Kind of get a feeling of some petals in there, towards the back and inside. Get some stuff going. And you practice rose painting until when you go to sleep at night, you'll see these roses in your sleep. And that's what it takes. You have to constantly practice over and over and over. Let's come down, pick up some of our petal pink. Now I'm going to put a touch of white with it. And let's just punch her up, just a hit. You hit it and get back out. Yes, it has that energy that we want. If you sit in there and you hit it, you nag it, the poor flower goes to sleep. Here's another highlight. Hit it, boom, 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 boom. And you have to build your confidence up. Don't expect you're going to sit down and all of a sudden you're going to lay these flowers in and boom, boom, boom. It's not going to happen right away. You have to practice. Let's get some more leaves going. Let's take some of this green light, foliage green light, and maybe right through here we have another one. Angle it towards the back. Whoa, that might be too light. Let's take some foliage green dark. Boom, 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 and let's get that up there. Yeah. Practice leaves. Just take a canvas, put a little sienna with that green, darken it up a little. Practice leaves. Just take a canvas and practice painting leaves over and over and over until you have it down. So you'll be painting these leaves without even thinking about it. Take a little more yellow. Maybe we'll take a little bit of our yellow ochre and punch that in there. And we have some beautiful little wildflowers growing. We better get those in. Yeah, a little leaf in there. I would still want to leaf it up more. Cut across a leaf. Don't be afraid to do that. We have maybe a little bud over here. Take a little of our rose color, put a little color in, and then wipe the brush, pick up some green, and put a little hood on top. See how we kind of wiggle that edge? You see it? Woo! And maybe darken it there a little. Little things coming off of there. How many buds you want to put in a painting, it really depends on you. But maybe we'll have another one there. Notice the stems are always curvy. Never, ever straight. There's another one here. Just get your color in. Put your little hood on top. Be creative. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Don't be afraid of what, people will say. If you end up with a bad painting, it just didn't turn out well at all, give it to somebody you don't like. Another one in here. Look at that. Oh, look at that. We got some autumn color. We have some warm. Let's slow down. How do you do that? That little leaf. It's down, wiggle back and forth, up and out. I combine it all into one stroke. Down, twist up and out, and there it is. Practice, and pretty soon the leaves will be flowing off your brush like you have a button that you're pushing, and you push that button, and the leaves, whoa, I'm way over on the other side, and the leaves will just come right off that brush. Boom, boom, boom. It's as simple as that. There ain't no more to say. Let's get those little blue leaves in before I'm saying goodbye, and there's no blue leaves. Let's come down and pick up a nice dark color. We're going to take another brush that's called a filbert. That's the brush with the rounded corners. This is Prussian blue and a little aqua blue mixed together. Let's try it without any medium. The people always say, okay, we're going to have a grouping of flowers. How do I paint a grouping of flowers without actually painting each and every flower? How do I just give the effect of a bunch of flowers? Because if I go in and paint every one of them, it's going to get tight, and it's going to take all the attention away from our prima donnas, the rose. Let me show you how, touch a medium, we paint a grouping. Well, when you paint a grouping, don't think of just individual flowers, but think of the general shape. And I'm just going to get this in. You can leave some holes in the middle if you want. As it comes into the dark area, let's take a little more of our Prussian blue. Maybe put a little deep burgundy with it, just to kind of warm her up a little. Let's see what that does. Oh, yeah. Oh, maybe too warm. Put a little more aqua blue with it. Okay, there it goes. Nice and loose and free down at the bottom. Some coming out down here. We're not highlighting. We're just going in. Maybe another one out here. We're just going in and getting the base tone started. And maybe a couple down here just hanging out. See it? Now look at the grouping. Don't paint a circle. Now we'll take our aqua blue and a touch of white. And now we just go in and we'll pick out just a few of them. And a strange thing's going to happen. And you watch what happens now, because it's really strange. As soon as we go in and pick out just a few, the brain says, okay, you're picking out what the flowers look like. The others in the back must be the same. You see how that works? It's amazing. Let's come over here and pick out another one. Notice how I put a little foreshortened edge in first and then go back. And all the petals head towards the center. Then I'll take my liner brush. We'll pick up a little orange and yellow. And watch again. This is kind of like magic stuff. We're going to put a little center in here, and here, and here, and maybe here, maybe something. You see that? Can you see it? Okay, now let's back up, and let's look at this whole area in here. Now look how I've just picked out a few flowers right in this area, and how your brain says, okay, that's the same thing back here. That's how you paint a grouping of flowers without painting each and every one. Amazing. Each time I do it, I go, whoa, this is really crazy stuff. Let's get another little something here. This is the liner brush. Now, stems are very important. Now, you guys have more time at home, I know, to play around with yours, to get more stuff in. This will be in the book so that you can actually see the breakdowns and how I approach this, and you'll actually, we'll have more detail in there for you. But this is just an approach. It shows you how to get started. And don't worry about how it turns out or how bad it looks. It doesn't matter, because it's all a learning experience. You don't have paintings that fail. You have some paintings that are going to be better than others, but if it's a learning experience, and each time you paint, you learn something, how can that be a negative experience? I don't see it. I just see the whole thing as a learning experience. Let's put in a couple. I'm going to take my yellow ochre and white, because I want to come in here. Now, the last thing you do is the first thing people see in your paintings, and I'm going to punch up some very pale light leaves in here, which is adding even more depth, because this is the lightest value in the painting. So when you look at the painting, try not to look at that spot. Try. You can't. Your eye is always going to constantly go to the lightest value. Look at that. Now we're in complete control of the painting. We're even controlling where people look. We'll force them to come up, look at our leaves, and then we lead the eye down with maybe a light line or stem. So we look at the leaves, and we hit that stem, and we come down, and we go, oh, look at the roses. And you come around, and you go, oh, look at the blue. And then somebody out there, when your painting is hanging in the gallery, and they reach for their wallet, They write you out a check. Yeah. We can make that happen with our paintings. How are we doing up here? Not too bad. We could always add a little shot right here. Again, you have more time at home, I know. Yes, but I think we did pretty good. It's not too shabby. Again, at home. Spend a little more time on yours and work in all that detail. Thanks for watching out there. Let's paint roses until we drop. And don't forget, you know I always say it, don't forget to stop and smell the roses along the way. And I'll see you next time.
Het derde boek van Gary Jenkins is uit, boordevol prachtige bloemen en rozen. Nieuw in deze uitgave zijn de exotische vogels en vissen. U heeft deze derde editie al in huis voor slechts €34,50. Of bestel de prachtige Jenkins DVD voor dezelfde prijs. Bestel snel en maak uw serie Jenkins boeken compleet. Kijk voor bestelinformatie op omroepmax.nl of op teletextpagina 330.